Welcome to an almost productive coffee break, the same bold flavor of our original podcast brew in a single shot. Perfect for those times when you need a quick marketing pick-me-up.
I'm Sean.
I'm Julie.
I'm Addie.
And I'm Ben. And we're all marketing professionals at New Boston Creative Group in Manhattan, Kansas. So I noticed listening back to a recent podcast episode that both Addie and I used the phrase platform of choice, which got me thinking about how varied yet specific our individual social media experiences can be. So I would love to hear a little bit about everyone's platform of choice and how they use it. But first, this episode of Almost Productive Coffee Break was brought to you by the Society of Fungi with Claustrophobia. The Society of Fungi with Claustrophobia. We're going to need as much room as possible. Thank you. So for all of you, if y'all had to pick one social media platform to call your personal favorite, which would it be and why?
Do I get to count Reddit?
I say if there's an argument for it, you go for it.
Because it's probably the one that I would pick as my choice, even though it's probably not as traditional of a social media. But it's a place I go to a lot to interact and see what people are saying about a lot of different subjects. Probably the most. Second would be Twitter, now X, but I am actively looking to replace that.
I'm going to go with Instagram. I feel like that's the place where most of my friends and family are, and it feels like kind of a more authentic experience than other platforms. It's a little less curated. So yeah, Instagram. I like seeing what people are up to.
I'm going to say Instagram as well, although I have more connections on Facebook, but I also have problems with how that platform has evolved. So Instagram still seems somewhat, I don't know.
You had
we
me on
were all enthralled.
Yeah.
We were all like,
what is
somewhat.
Somewhat.
Yeah, Instagram just seems somewhat more natural.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
I mean, it can be natural to you. I think that's fair. I think that's yeah.
It seems like the most unobtrusive of them all.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
Okay, let me re-record with Sean's words. Instagram just seems more, what's the word I'm looking for? Unobtrusive, I think.
That's a good word.
I agree.
Great vocab, Julie. Really good job. Nailed it.
I would also say Instagram is really high up there for me. I love following artists and I like reading comics online. And so I think it's a great platform for that, especially now that they have more like video capabilities so that you have people kind of mixing and matching still and moving media to make cool art. So I'm big on that. I also really like YouTube. YouTube is probably one up there for me. And I think part of what makes it so great for me is there's a lot of short content out there, and I can appreciate that. And especially from a marketing perspective, I get why people watch the short marketing content. But I love just a long video essay about something that I'm into. And it's like one of the few places that you can get that. So I'm really into YouTube for that reason.
Yeah, that's a great one. And I was also going to say that, yeah, Instagram is a breath of fresh air for a lot of them, like, because it's so simplified. You know, we're just getting photos. You know, you can do the reels, but you're not getting weird texts and weird links. Like it's like you can only do this one thing, and so it seems very calming in sort of comparison to the others. And watching a long form YouTube video, there really is nothing better. And I will say, again, to compare like to TikTok, where, man, that's a great place to fall down a rabbit hole and have a lot of fun, but then like emerge 3 hours later and wonder what happened. And so you have to use that one sparingly.
Yeah.
I was actually going to say TikTok is my favorite, but for that reason, it's not. It's too addictive. It's too good, and that's actually problematic. So Instagram is a little bit easier to step away from, which I'm sure they would hate to hear, but for the user, that's a much better experience.
That's actually a perfect segue into my little bonus question, which is, I'm curious, y'all picked your platform of choice. What's your least favorite part of your platform of choice? Or what's something that you would change about it if you could? just for the well-being of the world. It doesn't have to make sense marketing-wise. Just what's something that you personally would enjoy more?
I have two. The first one, they're kind of starting to roll out, which is hiding the like count. So not being able to see how many people liked a post. I think that's so much better for mental health, especially young kids, like not competing as much for likes. You can still click on a post and kind of scroll to see who liked it. So you can kind of still gauge interaction that way. And I might even take that feature away. But also, secondly, I don't like seeing TikToks on Instagram. I wish that they had to be totally separate. It drives me crazy when I've seen a TikTok and someone will send it to me through Reels. And I'm just like, it's too much. It's too much and I don't like it.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, I said Reddit, and the problem with it is the same as a lot of these sort of message boardy voting type of things. Is like they're very susceptible to being manipulated and to seeing information that is not vetted, and there's all those sort of things that happen with it. I don't know if I have a good solution to that. If I did, I'd be a billionaire. That's the reason these things still have problems. But yeah, those are the issues with it. You have to pay attention with like any media, pay attention to what's being posted, where it's being posted, and who's saying what about it. You just have to be aware.
Yeah. Julie?
For me, I appreciate the simplicity of Instagram, but sometimes I do wish I could click on a link from a post instead of having to go to the bio, to the link in bio, and then to see what I'm curious about learning more about.
100%. Full send agree on that one. And then when it comes to YouTube, I feel like the way that the comment section is structured, we've talked about it before, where like the engagement, whether good or bad, doesn't matter what the quality of the conversation is. If they know people are going to like be fighting about it, they'll move the comments upwards. It's gotten very complicated, so I think they can kind of obfuscate the way that works. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of how, like, if you want to get angry, scroll only 1 inch down into the comments of any YouTube video on your phone. It's very quick. And I wish they would not do that. But I also am realizing that's a complicated ask.
Yeah, I follow one YouTuber who will pin the most angry, ridiculous comment to the top. So it's the very first one.
Incredible.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, that is all we have about our own favorite platforms of choice. So leave us a comment about what is your platform of choice, or what is your least favorite part? What is something you would like to change about your platform of choice? Thank you for listening to this episode of Almost Productive. Before we go, we'd like to give a shout out to our producers, Nick and Molly, who work behind the scenes to make this podcast possible. If you'd like to learn more about what we do at New Boston Creative Group, you can reach us at newbostoncreative.com. You can also follow us on social media at New Boston Creative on Instagram and New Boston Creative Group on Facebook and LinkedIn. If you like this episode, please like, follow, subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with your friends. And if you didn't like the show, feel free to recommend us to your enemies. Tune in next time for some more office shenanigans, thoughts on trending topics, and marketing adjacent insights. Until next time, we hope you have a productive day.